That's not clickbait. I see the Dota2 Twitter tweeted about it. See? Okay, here we go. Welcome to another patch stream. I don't know how long this one's going to be. Oh, looks like it's moderately large. This is the first impressions. Oh, I should change my Twitch header. First impressions. 7.22C. Should probably tweet about this too. Tweet. Okay, I'm gonna get some things wrong. Blah blah blah. And yeah, try not to flame me too much. All right, Ring of Basilius, bonus damage increased by 1. Basie is not purchased very often unless it's being put into Vlad's, so I think it's fine to buff the item. I think it's a little under purchased personally. 2 armor isn't like a buttload, but it definitely adds up in terms of pushes and stuff like that. It helps, and the item by itself could genuinely be like a mid item for mid heroes. 8 damage for 500 gold. It's pretty good. It's better than what a Null Talisman gives right now. Although obviously the raw stats aren't as good. But yeah, I don't know. I think Basie's okay. Axe base movement's been increased by 10. Axe is pretty slow. It's like 290 or something like that. So 295. That'll help a lot actually. He's definitely a pretty slow hero. Batrider Flaming Lasso cooldown increased. Pretty big late game nerf to Batrider. Bloodseeker base armor increased by 1. Bristleback base damage increased by 3. He had really bad base damage. That's actually pretty respectable, like 52. Is that 3? It's not bad. Chaos Knight Kiss Bowl mana cost reduced to scale better. Okay, that'll solve some of his mana problems. Divine Favor, this could be major nerfs to Chen because Chen is still really good. Divine Favor aura no longer provides damage and now has the recall ability instead of Holy Persuasion with a 60-second cooldown. Divine Favor HP regen goes up. So, Divine Favor no longer gives damage. It's literally a 1-point wonder skill. It's actually not even that good anymore. I don't even know if this is a nerf to the hero, frankly. This is really good. Holy Persuasion now provides the bonus damage. This is a lot of bonus damage. Well, I guess it would double anyways. So basically, if you Holy Persuade a creep, you're getting bonus damage anyways. It's not on Divine Favor. I'm slightly sad because I wanted to try some like triple troll with skeleton damage thing. It doesn't work anymore because you're not going to Holy Persuade all the skeletons. So a little sad, but I lost my opportunity. And Penitence mana cost increased. It scales up. And then the 10 talent nerf the XP gain. Level 15 talent is 20 Holy Persuade, basically the same thing. And then level 15 talent minus 30-second Divine Favor cooldown. So basically what IceFrog did was, the part of the problem with Chen is that being able to TP all of your heroes around all the time is a little bit too abusive because you can min-max so much and gank really effectively. So putting it on a 60-second cooldown is pretty freaking long, and definitely makes it more fair. With that said, getting multiple skill points of this I think is not very good anymore. I don't even think this is a very good skill anymore. Like, you should probably get 1, I guess. I mean, it's 2 HP regen, that's pretty decent, I guess, but 2 HP regen, 8% heal increase. I'd probably only get 1 skill point in this early. Like, you can genuinely go like 4-4-1 now. Because all this does is gives you more regen and more heal increase, which is nice for your ulti, obviously, but I don't even think Chen is, like, Chen is going to be less abusive, I guess, but he's still going to be pretty effective. A buff to split pushing with creeps, that's also a good point. Yeah, you can also split push with creeps because their damage is based on Holy Persuasion, not based on your hero damage. So I don't even think this is that much worse. I think Chen is still good here. If anything, he's more skill independent. Like, you're going to have Penitence maxed out really early now. And this is why the mana cost has gone up here. Because you're going to be able to like roll into a fight with Penitence level 4 pretty early and just start beating people up. So we'll see how it works out, but maybe the Death Ball was a little bit too good with the heal increase as well, but I can't see. I guess you don't need to get 4 points of Penitence anymore. The attack speed used to like double, kind of. It scales statically or whatever, goes up by the same value per level. But I could definitely see myself going like 1-4-1 or something. I mean, I wouldn't even get Divine Favor early. I would just get Holy Persuasion or Penitence level 1 or something. So a slight tangent shift to Chen, but I don't think he's that much worse at all. Not even close. It's still very good. It'll make your carry last a little bit worse in lane, but that's about it. Yeah, you probably should get this at level 1 or 2 though. Maybe 3, 4. Maybe level 4. It's 2 regen per second though. That's not bad for the laning stage. It makes all your regen work 8% better. It's hard to say. Does the bonus damage apply to creeps summoned by persuaded creeps? Probably not. Alright, let's move on. Clink's 8 armor. Oh, I'm sorry, 8 agility, excuse me. So now he's getting damage or HP talent at 10. I think both of those are okay. Level 10 talent changed from magic resistance to 10 strength. Okay. Yeah, these used to be these two, now it's these two. That's a lot better, because he actually does really need raw HP once they change his ultimate. 15 talent change from the strength talent, where it used to be 2 burning army cooldown. That's your ultimate, which is pretty long cooldown. 30-second reduction is not bad. They did nerf the Searing Arrows talent. It used to be like 13, or it used to be 30. Now it's only 15. Lowering the cooldown down to 80 is not a bad idea, though. I think that's a decent talent. Because the 15 is good, because every single one of your skeletons is going to do that damage, that extra 15. But I could see myself passing up the 15 Searing Arrows damage now, personally. And then 25 talent strafe duration goes up by 1. That's really long. 7.5 out of 15 seconds. It's not bad. I haven't played Clink since they added Ags to him, but I feel like he's probably not that bad right now. I'm not sure though. Battery Assault cooldown heavily nerfed. That's not bad. That's an 8-second reduction. Well, it's more like 6 at all levels plus an extra 2. But every Battery Assault point decreases the cooldown by 2 seconds. Lasts for 10.5 seconds, so it doesn't really make that big of a difference, but in terms of like bounty rune fights and stuff, you'll be able to Battery Assault more often. It'll make early trading a little bit easier. Probably will help support clock a lot. Surge reduced by 5% at all levels, and the 20 talent nerfing the iron shell damage. I think that's really needed. Talent was probably too good. Base attack speed increased, so Dark Willow getting buffs from the over nerf that happened. She got her BAT reduced in the last patch, right when she came out with the Ags. It was a little bit ridiculous, and now she's getting her attack speed increased a little bit to compensate for it. Shuttle Realm max damage duration reduced by half a second as well. This will help solve... Wait. There's actually a buff to her damage. This is actually just buff. Wait. Does this mean that... the damage ramp up time increased from 3 to 4, and now the max damage duration... It's a nerf to the Ags? Some people are saying buff, some are saying nerf. 3.5 seconds. So it went from 3 to 4 to 3.5. But why did they change the text? It's so confusing. Does that mean it takes 3.5 seconds to get your max damage now? That would be a buff to the Ags. Or does it mean that on the other side that the amount of time that you're at max damage is only 3.5 seconds instead of 4? But that doesn't make sense. It took way longer than that to ramp up. I feel like they just worded it very poorly. Buff for without Ags. Text is inconsistent. It's confusing as hell. Dazzle, Bad Juju, cooldown reduced, or increased, sorry. 26, 38, 50. That looks a lot better for a support. Dazzle's going to get I'm kind of sad, but Dazzle's going to get broken because of him being a core hero with Bad Juju. Level 10 talent change to experience gain. Okay. A little interesting. The health talent was pretty solid. Experience gain one's not bad though, but I don't know. I mean experience is good. Maybe it'll make Dazzle more justifiable because you'll be able to get Grave maxed out a little bit earlier. Dragonite base int increased by 3, more mana for him. Level 10 talent, buff to breathe fire, damage reduction. Level 15 talent, more health. So the ones that people usually don't get. Elder Titan Astral Spirit attack damage bonus per hero increased. 20 per level, so it's a little bit better at level 1. I kind of got a little over nerfed with the creep thing, maybe. Impetus range increased by 25, matching the hero's attack range. Okay, I did not know that. Chant cooldown is also buffed by quite a bit. How did they change this recently? Oh. This is actually a pretty big nerf. This means that you can't perma enchant something anymore. It's gone. Because the duration is... Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. They just lowered the cooldown. It's actually better. The duration is 26 at level 1, and the cooldown is 20. So you have 2 more seconds of a window to perma control your creep. And you can use a little bit more in the lane. It's a pretty small, it's a pretty tiny buff. It's like a 2-second at all levels. But it's one way to buff the hero, I guess. Enigma, intelligence can reduce. Enigma's been pretty popular in the pro scene. He was very popular at Birmingham. Chronosphere radius increased a little bit, and time lock chance increased by 2% at all levels. Life break slow increased to 60% at all levels. It sounds pretty good to me. It's a lot of slow. Base armor increased by 1 for Invoker. Here come the IO nerfs. IO is still a top pick ban at Birmingham, and people have been playing him as a core right now as well. Reduces attack range. Base armor increased by 1. Strength gain increased. Okay. So these are buffs so far. 1 armor is a decent amount. For a hero like IO, more health. Very good. Tether regen reduced from 105% to 90%. Means you're not getting as much regen as the person you're tethered to until you get more levels. So if I get 100 health as IO, my person I'm tethered to only get 90 instead of 105. They would get extra benefit. Tether cancel now is a 0.25 second cooldown to prevent accidental uses. It's probably if you press tether twice. Spirit's no longer slow. Thank fucking God. That's actually what really needed to happen. It's now a talent. Okay, so at 10, if you want it, you can get it. This used to be an experience gain talent. Now that's gone. That's what was so annoying actually about the IO ags. I'm glad I got to play against it before this happened, because when it keeps refreshing the spirits and they keep slowing you, it's really obnoxious, because they keep hitting you for like a long time, and then you're kind of just out of position, and it doesn't feel like it ever stops. So the fact that it's now a talent and they remove the experience gain. Not that most IOs, like core IOs, probably won't get it because they'll get the 45 damage. But if that's the case, then they won't also be able to slow. They have to pick or choose one. And if you're playing a core IO, I think slow is probably better if you're planning to get a fast Ags. And then you lose out on 45 damage, which is huge. If you're support IO, I mean, this is like a big laning stage nerf for IO actually. Is like huge. The fact that it doesn't slow anymore, just naturally. You're actually just like a regen bot now. So it's like core IO is you go mid and you go Helm of the Dominator and you get a neutral creep, and that runs around at like 425 movement speed, and you tether to it and you get a Maelstrom, and then afterwards you buy an Ags. And you don't need to buy boots because you're the same movement speed as your neutral creep. You get maybe a bottle, and you can run around with overcharge, attacking for like 80% extra attack speed. And you just deal a boatload of damage, and then you buy Ags afterwards, and then your spirits just keep refreshing. And the guy that we played against went 45 damage talent with a 75. So like by the time you hit 15, you get the 75 spirits hero damage talent, which means that your spirits are now doing 155 damage per spirit magic. So if they just get hit with the first 5, that's already like what, 750 magic damage. And then they keep spawning, so you could get hit by like more likely like 7, 8, 9, especially if he keeps the right angle. And he's always going to be 425 movement speed basically, so that's not true, but he's always going to be really fast, so it's pretty easy to like keep somebody on the edge of your spirit circle and keep them kited a little bit. So I like that they put the talent the slow in the talent here. It's going to make IO laning much worse, probably moderately worse, and it'll make core IO certainly worse too, but not that much worse. A little surprised they increased his armor and stuff, but I guess if you don't have slow on spirits, it's probably a little bit too rough. But I think these nerfs here will probably help compensate, or these 2 buffs here will help compensate it a little bit. Keeper of the Light, Will-O-Wisp radius increased by just a little bit. Base int for Lich goes up. I think that was probably needed. I'm not a huge fan of Lich right now. I think he's a little bit boring. I mean, he was kind of boring before, but you could like lane dominate. I used to like playing like offlane Lich and like super lane dominating with Sacrifice and Nova and transitioning, but you can't really do that anymore because Sinister Gaze and Frost Shield have kind of prevented that spam out method. You basically are just like a really boring 5 right now, which I'm pretty damn over at this point. Sinister Gaze cooldown scales now. They're buffing it. Chain Frost damage goes up a little bit. 25 talent goes up a little bit. The base int is by far the best buff here. Although late game this will be kind of nice. But 2 base int, it's okay. That's 2 damage increase. It's an extra, 24 mana. Give you a little bit of spam. Luna base health regen increased by 0.5 to help her lane sustain. They buffed Medusa. Okay. Strength gain increased by 0.2. I'm surprised. I did not expect to see a Medusa buff. I don't know where that's coming from. Medusa was picked a little bit at Birmingham, so I'm confused. I probably missed some games since then. Base mana regen increased to 0.4. And cast point reduced a little bit. This is probably needed to help Smarana. She's got a really bad base mana pool. So 0.4 it's kind of a lot. I mean, 100 seconds, that's like what? 40 mana? It'll help you be a little bit more mana independent if you're playing like Morana support, which they probably need to let that creep into the game. Morphling nerfed again, waveform cooldown increased, but I don't think this actually matters that much. So waveform mana cost increased, that matters a little bit more, but I think this is irrelevant, frankly, because Morphlings are already maxing waveform first. This nerf is kind of, it's like an early game Morphling nerf by all means. It's a nerf to Morphling between levels 1 and 9 basically. But Morphlings have been doing waveform max second. I think Nisha did it a bit. But I saw enough where it was like at least half the games Morphlings were going 4-1-4 instead of 1-4-4 like they used to, because Adaptive Strike is just not as good as it used to be. And people are also going the waveform range talent consistently. So if that's the case, why not max waveform first? So this is only going to encourage that even more. So a little bit weaker still for Morphling laning stage, but that's about it. Necrophos Heartstopper heal regen per stack increase. Buffs to Necro because they overnerfed him maybe a little bit with Heartstopper. Heartstopper mana regen per stack is going up. So 0.5 per level. A lot for the health though. It's going to make Heartstopper a much better 1-point skill. It's equivalent to the previous 2. So you could maybe argue that you don't have to max out Heartstopper or anything. You get like 2 points or something. So it's not really that much of a buff to the hero, but it's just like a little bit. Enough where like he'll lane more. Yeah, people are actually maxing waveform. After they still max more first. They'll go 1-1-4 and then they'll go 4-1-4 is what's happening. But yeah, I think this will definitely help Necro the first wave or two. But past that, and some Necros might not max Heartstopper first. They might be able to go like 4-1-2 or something like that. But they should probably get 2 Heartstoppers. What's the scaling on this? It doesn't scale that incredibly, and the mana cost actually does go up by a lot. 50 damage per level, 1 cooldown, 20 more heal. Doesn't scale that amazing. 2 points of Heartstopper is pretty good. Where are we at? Necrophos. Nyx Assassin base health regen reduced. He was first round banned a lot of times. Spike Carapace duration reduced. A little bit harder to use it effectively. Phantom Lancer Juxtapose illusion damage increased by 2%. A little buff, but it's kind of big. It's an 8th damage increase for what illusions were doing before. And the level 15, this talent needed to be buffed a long time ago. Nobody ever gets it. But 20% evasion is not bad, actually. That could be justified. Like, imagine if they have a Battlefield hero or something like that, and you get the evasion talent instead of 20 attack speed. Your illusions are going to live so much better, I feel like, if they're missing some of their attacks. It's going to be a lot harder to deal with those. I don't know, 20 just looks so much more appealing than 15, even though they're so similar. It's a 33% increase, though. It's not bad. But I could see that being really obnoxious against a lot of different heroes. Fire Spirit's release no longer has a micro cast point interruption. I don't really know what that means. Does that mean that it would interrupt what your command was when you do it? And now it's not going to do that anymore? Like I could right click the ground and shoot fire spirits out while my hero is moving and it won't stop me from moving? I'm not sure. Icarus dive cooldown reduced, scales a little bit. Pretty small. I mean, I don't know, fully know what this does. Probably doesn't interrupt channeling. Maybe. You can use it while teleporting. Alright, yeah, let's try it out. You're right. Let's try it. You could always cast while diving. Yeah, it doesn't interrupt your movement anymore. I guessed right. That's actually a lot nicer. Because before it was a lot more mechanically, it was kind of like you like cast and you have to like go back to doing what you're doing. So it's just like you could actually just play this hero really casually now. It's kind of nice. That's a really nice quality of life change for sure. Good question on the behind you part. Wow, you can. That's huge actually. That is probably the biggest buff. You couldn't do that before. You'd have to turn around to cast it. So when somebody was chasing you, you have to turn around, cast it, and then go back to running again. Turn around, cast it, and go back to running again. So if you're being chased, that's a huge buff. Yeah, it does interrupt TPs. But it doesn't, you don't have to turn around. And you don't have to reissue a move command. That's nice, very nice. That's a really nice change to the hero. Makes it easier to play. Puck base health regen increase. Level 25 Dream Coil talent no longer requires enemies to be in attack range of Puck, as long as Puck is within 200 range of the edge of the circle. Okay. So, they slightly reduce the attack speed. This is a talent that nobody ever gets, the 25 one, the Dream Coil Rapid Fire. Nobody ever gets it, because it's generally bad. But now, if you Dream Coil the enemy team, you just have to be within 200 range of the edge of the circle. So let's show it out.
A likely way to pass a fraction of an eon.
That's a lot of damage.
Prepare for battle.
I venture forth. With alacrity. So near. We are in accord.
That's pretty good.
Go at will.
That's genuinely pretty good. Especially if you get Ags, increase the duration by a little bit. So this is just kind of like throwing out. I think that's viable, actually. I think it's viable. Because before, if you have to stand near all those heroes within a Dream Coil, it's really tough. But now, you can basically, you can ulti. It doesn't scale with attack speed, it's an interval. You can ulti people, and you just have to be kind of near them, and you're getting damage in, which is pretty solid. Obviously, people aren't going to grab the 90 damage talent almost ever. I don't think that's going to happen. They're still going to go 15% spell amp is way too good on Puck. But I could certainly see some Pucks late game going for Dream Coil Rapid Fire when it's like that, I think. They're still probably going to go a lot of the same builds, and GPM is really tempting too, but I don't know, I feel like it's potentially viable. It's definitely a lot better. Strength gain reduced for Sand King, mana storm or mana cost for Sandstorm goes up as well. A little bit worse laning for Sand King, basically more mana problem. 675 starting to be a bit. Base attack speed reduced for Shadow Shaman. So his BAT is the same, but his attack speed is being reduced. Interesting. 10 less. So even though he has high damage, he's not going to attack as fast. Concussive shot damage buffed, so more damage at level 1. Now gives you less damage per level than it used to, but the slow and other benefits are still there. You could definitely argue for going like a 1-1-1 skill build maybe. But it'll definitely make you better at like level, basically the first few levels. Most people do, I think when I see pro players play Sky, they definitely max concussive shot first. And now that you can use it against creep waves as well, it's definitely even better because you could push creep waves with it. It just seems hard not to max this ability. And 8 int to 30% experience gain. That's really good. Especially because you could get to 25 pretty fast. GPM or Mystic Flare damage. Most of the talents for Sky are actually super good. The 15 ones are both excellent. Perma Ancient Seal or 2 Arcane Bolts. The 20 talent is pretty good. 15% more damage basically when you combo somebody. Global Concussive is okay. And then 25 is really, really good. I could definitely see myself getting this talent. I usually don't like experience talents that much because I'm stupid. But I could see myself doing this one over movement speed. 20 movement speed is great, but like all the skill points on Sky are so valuable. Maxing all your skills ASAP is really good. And then when you get kills, which you should be doing, then you can turn that into levels, which is what's nice about this. This could be a good way to get Sky back in the game because he hasn't been popular in a while. He doesn't transition very well because he doesn't have hard stuns. He just has silences. So it's like it's very easy if you have a bad game. If you have like a rough game, you don't come back into it. And if it's not a good Skyra game, anyways, you can fall off really quickly. You basically need like an ally that has a stun to set you up most of the time, which is kind of hard to do sometimes. So, Slar base HP regen increase a bit more Slar buffs, dude. Sven's Stormhammer, stun duration reduced, so a little bit worse early on. That's a decent stun. It used to be a 2-second stun at all levels. So more nerfs to Sven. Warcry mana cost goes up a little bit too, but he's been pretty popular. He was like the second or third best carry at Birmingham. So just little baby nerfs that aren't really going to affect him in the long term. The Warcry mana cost one's matters a little bit. Strength gain for TB goes up. It's been a while since I saw a TB buff. Timber saw base strength increase by 2. Base mana regen increased by just a little bit. Timber's still kind of garbage hero. I don't know what Timber's problem is right now. It feels like the fact that he does a lot of damage doesn't really matter that much. He's in a weird place. I'm not sure what it is. But it just feels like Timber, I mean, everybody gets items so fast. They have like solutions. It's hard for them to die. Vessels is a problem. Yeah, Vessel hurts too, but it's not just Vessel. I feel like his toolkit just isn't good. Like his damage and slows and stuff, it just doesn't feel useful to me. Plus, not to mention Roots got buffed so much, right? They can interrupt him and prevent him from even Timber chaining. There's a lot of reasons that Timbersaw has issues right now. Tinker March the Machine's mana cost has been reduced, so it's cheaper if you cast it at level 1 basically. Other than that, it's basically the same. Level 15 talent changed GPM 150. Wow. And the spell lifesteal talent is buffed. So that's just actually just a raw buff to Tinker. 20 talent buffed as well. That's very surprising. I like that they removed his movement speed talent actually, because once you get Blink Dagger on March on Tinker, you're really mobile anyways, right? But if you interrupt his rearm and you're dealing damage and you can't blink, I like the fact that he isn't just going to be stupid fast now, especially because he always gets BOTs, right? So 30 movement speed is stupidly good, because that's really like, it's more like 40 movement speed. It's a 40 movement speed talent basically, 42 something around there. That's a lot of movement speed just for a talent. Not that the other one wasn't good, the spell lifesteal or whatever. Is this always here? The 15? I guess it was. GPM spell lifesteal. Yeah, it's a hard choice actually. I think most Tinkers would go GPM. But 15% spell lifesteal is really good. Getting to 15 is probably not that hard on Tinker, I'm guessing. 8% spell amp plus spell lifesteal. 100 cast rate. All of his talents are really good actually. March does 40 damage. You can increase it by 25% at 20. Buff to Tinker in ability draft 2, you could argue. 150 GPM, pretty good. Maybe could justify you in fighting more and farming less, perhaps. You could make that argument maybe. Base armor increased by 1 for tree. Hell yeah. Overgrowth through duration increased by 0.25 seconds at all levels, which is fine. Does no damage right now. The AoE is massive, but 1 armor increase is actually pretty big. So it's up to 1.4 base now. That's pretty sick. A lot of people getting armor these days, actually. Troll Warlord, Whirling Axe's melee damage reduced, so it makes Troll laning a little bit worse. 25 damage less at all levels. Tusk movement speed increased by 5. Woo! Underlord getting some base armor. Everybody getting base armor, man. Fixed the +5 tombstone. I wonder what it was that triggered it where Ice Frog and the team thought like we need to increase everybody's armor, like because it feels like for a long time there's a lot of reductions going on, but now everybody's just getting armor. So many people getting base armor. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the Aquila change. The Aquila got removed, so people had like armor problems or something. Plus the bracers got nerfed when they were too good, so strength heroes were like in too good a place. Like all these base armor increases and phase boots, I don't know. I mean, like 1 armor isn't that big of a deal, but seems like for some of these strength heroes that are gonna have a lot of HP late game, it's kind of a lot. Fix the +5 tombstone attack talent not causing the right amount of health change. Fix slower up not healing tombstone for the intended amount. Okay. Max unit count reduced, but the damage is gone up. So it's easier to use soul rip. It's actually just kind of buffed by 4 at all levels, actually, which is great. Because if you get 8 units anyways, we're talking 8 times 4. That is 32 extra damage at level 1. It's pretty good. Not bad at all. Magic missile cooldown. Does this compensate for it, though? 2 less units, but 4 more damage. 32 here is lost, basically. And yeah, it's about the same, actually. It's just better. It's better in the early laning stage. It's better with less units around than it used to be. Thanks for the sub. Magic missile cooldown reduced by 1. Hell yeah, dude. 9 seconds. Skill is becoming good. I like Venge buffs. I like Venge. Warlock, Fatal Bonds getting the nerf. 1% less and 2% less, actually. 4% over here. It's rough, dude. Max is 28% damage bonus. Fatal Bonds is just really, really good right now. People are still going to play Warlock for sure. This is pretty tiny. Geminate attack damage bonus goes up by an extra 15 at level 4. What are his talents? Again. Bonus Geminate attack. Oh, that's right, the Geminate attack has. I forgot that they added this. Just little baby buffs. Well, that was it. That was a patch. Feels pretty good. Armor buffs to heroes that we haven't seen played much. Excuse me. I want to try Chen out, I think. I want to see how different he feels. He probably still feels good. Maybe I'll play a ranked game. Clink says better talents that aren't garbage. Good for clockwork. Just a lot of people buffed. Alright, Lil Nick wants he's sniping me, dude. I think Fogged is eternally AFK. I'm pretty sure. Should I play ranked, unranked? Might be hard to find a 5-stack here. I think I'm just gonna search. Little baby buffs here and there. A lot of heroes I like actually got buffed. Dazzle. Not that many. Which are arguably. I like the Dream Quell talent change. That one's pretty cool. We could definitely see that in a pro game, genuinely. I don't know, 90 damage with that Dream Coil, it might justify people getting that. So if you go like Treads on Puck or something, you can definitely right click super extreme.